A very warm welcome to IDFC First Bank presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 11. I'm Ritvika Gupta. Tonight we are bringing you part 2 of our highlights from our Bengaluru Springboard, a conversation about Bengaluru's journey from a back office to a tech hub. In this panel discussion, Sunanda Jaiseelan spoke to Madan Padaki, co-founder Game and President TIE Bengaluru, K. Ullas Kamath, founder UK & Co, Sanjeev Malhotra, CEO COR for IoT and AI NASCOM, and Nritya Madhapa, partner 314 Capital, about the growth strategies for startups in the country and the need for fostering skill development as a tool to promote entrepreneurship. Listen in.
Just by way of introductions, what we like doing here on the show is asking for each of our panelists to very briefly, in about 30 seconds or so, talk about your businesses. Being completely biased, but I want to come to our lady on the panel, Nritya. Could you talk to us about 314 Capital?
Yeah, hi, I'm Nritya. I'm a partner at 314 Capital. 314 Capital is one of the top early-stage venture capital firms in the country. We manage about 500 million deployed across companies and over $1 billion in AUM today. We invest across several sectors, including software, consumer tech and brands, fintech and financial services, which we are very deep in, and very focused bets in digital health and climate tech. So that's us. We've been around for about 7 years. And to your point about a startup bank, we're a startup VC and still very young in our journey there.
So we have someone who's very closely associated with capital and money. And then we have someone who looks at the social sector, the social space, and entrepreneur. Madan, could you talk to us about?
Thanks, Sunanda. Hi, good evening. My name is Madan Padaki. I've been an entrepreneur here over the last 23 years. I started off in 2000 here in Bangalore. After having sold my first venture to Manipal, now the last 10 years trying to solve the rural India's access, choice, convenience, and commerce problem with a startup called OneBridge. We take commerce to the villages. We are probably one of India's largest village commerce network. Also honored to be the president of TIE Bangalore, which has been here again since the last 24 years. We complete 25 years next year. And very passionate about creating more entrepreneurs who can create more jobs in this country.
Thank you so much for that, Madan. Ullas, could you briefly introduce the work that you do?
Hi, I'm Ullas Kamath. I was with Jyoti Labs for 31 years, and with that company, I retired last year. And my passion is for growing family-managed businesses. And UK company, we help the family-managed business to scale up their business and also helping MSMEs to do well in their life. And I'm also the chairman for FICCI Karnataka State Council.
Thank you so much and welcome. And I want to come to someone who I'm sure everyone knows what NASCOM does. So I was just checking with him. Should we introduce NASCOM because everyone knows what you do? But no, yes.
But I'll introduce the initiative that I lead there, is the Center of Excellence on Emerging Technologies. It is a Government of India initiative along with the state government and the industry on bringing more homegrown solutions in these new technologies. We know that this technology is going to be important for every business, small, medium, large. So that's what we do, promote these small companies, younger companies, new businesses to scale up.
Thank you so much and welcome. Let's then really start by talking about, first and foremost, since we're talking about Bengaluru and Karnataka as the gateway for this entire decade, perhaps just call out for the sake of our entrepreneurs, where are the opportunities as you see it? And this is open to everyone on the panel. Where are the opportunities as you see it? And perhaps first I would love to pick Sanjeev's brains. When it comes to the entire tech space, I know you look very closely at IoT and AI. How much of it is really accessible to the kind of innovation and work that's being done, not just in Karnataka, but in the rest of India as well? And how would you perhaps see that changing?
Yeah, thank you. So Bangalore or India right now, has the third largest number of startups in the world. Especially when we talk about in the technology space. So India has come of age when we talk about keeping abreast with the latest innovations. What we are not still used to is having more homegrown solutions being adopted by our industry across the country. There's a lot of work. I mean, you know that there's a lot of work being done in Bangalore and other cities also. Of course, Bangalore leads the way in developing newer solutions in the technologies like AI, IoT, robotics, and so on. And that's going to be important for every sector, be it in healthcare, be it in manufacturing, be it in logistics, or be it in retail, right? Now, our job is to make sure all these solutions that are being developed by startups or smaller companies, we take this thing into the hands of people where it's going to make an impact. So it's going to be a win-win for the smaller companies. It is going to be a solution which actually gets to the user, and for the company, finding a solution from a startup actually is going to be a big win because startup solutions bring a lot of value in terms of their flexibility, cost, and being able to adjust to your requirements.
Ullas, I'd love for you to bring in the SME and MSME perspective to this question. Where are the trends and opportunities, especially you're talking future tech, IoT, AI, ML, etc.?
There is a lot of opportunity in Bangalore, and while every fifth person is in IT, we need to take care of the people who are the other four. Because Bangalore has a 1.4 crore population, almost 30% of the Karnataka lives here. So everybody should have something to earn here beyond IT. So the new way of doing the business here is very clear that you need to get into the emerging sectors like probably aerospace, maybe agri-tech, maybe edutech, maybe like floriculture. So we are seeing a lot of traction, positive traction for youngsters who are getting into MSME area, but not that age-old MSMEs, what we see in old industrial areas, because it's almost now 30, 35 years we have been seeing that, and now we are seeing some kind of like negative growth in industrial areas because of no excess capital available and no technologies available. They're not able to upgrade themselves. So my suggestion to the youngsters in Bangalore would be to see for lucrative emerging markets, which is disruptive in nature, which also creates jobs, and government also supports them a lot. And a lot of private equity money is available, early stage money is available, late stage money is available, bankers are available, and jobs can be created.
Madan, I'd love for you to expand on the job space that he's talking about, because you work so closely in that space. And are you finding, and how is the industry really ensuring that those right skill sets, the training, etc., is being imparted?
Sure, Sunanda, but before that, just coming to an interesting conversation we had recently. We had gone on a road show to the US, representing the Karnataka government recently. And we actually did an event in the Silicon Valley saying, will Silicon Valley soon be called as the Bangalore of the West? Right? And I truly believe that that's possible. And that should be the vision that we should have, that can Bangalore, and therefore India, truly become the tech innovation hub. We've seen that transition happen from what I call as the 3 H's. Earlier it was handset. We used to just do work for others, not using our heads. That is the services back office sector. The last 10 years, we've seen transitioning to the headset, where we're applying our minds to create products, ideas, but for the global world. But I think the biggest contribution of India will be when we move towards a hard set, when we're using our technology to solve local problems that we face in the country.
Hard, is it?
Hard set.
Okay.
Right? So handset to headset to hard set. Right? And from the hard set, I see a lot of young entrepreneurs now coming and saying, listen, I want to solve the agri-tech problem. I want to solve the problem of climate change. I want to solve the problem of healthcare, education, and especially with the digital public goods infrastructure that is really coming up in a fascinating way. I think the leadership of Bangalore in India will come when we take solutions built for here, which will solve our problems, to be applied globally to solve the problems. And therein, I think, lies massive job creation. I think the intersection of economic growth to sustainable development goals or equitable development and job creation, I think that's the critical intersection that we need to think about. And here is where, as you said, skilling becomes important, because it's not just skills for skill's sake. It's not for today. It is how do you proposition a youth to think 5 years in the future? And what does 5 years look like? And how do we work backwards from there to say, hey, here are the 5 skills that you require today to build for the future and not just build for today.
Okay. But will those be unique to India, or can you draw examples from what's happening globally?
I think especially in this space, India is taking the lead, right? I don't think it'll be unique to India, but I think the models that will emerge, which was built for India, can be taken out.
Fantastic. And what you shared, that nugget that the West will be called Bangalore of the West, I think that's fantastic. And I want you to comment on that, Nritya, if I can come to you. And you are investing in some of these technologies. You were talking about agri-tech, etc. What are the sectors perhaps that you look at? Or what excites you?
So we look across several sectors. So if you're building in any form of a sector, whether it's software, consumer tech, fintech, digital health, or climate tech, please, we would be very interested in looking at it. But there is enormous opportunity across each.
Would you want to respond really to the point that she's making as far as agri is concerned?
So all this ecosystem now is far, far better than what it used to be in the past. And the consumer is getting the best of the product at his doorstep, and the manufacturer is doing a great job. But there is still some pain points in raising the capital for brick and mortar industries. There is pain points for compliances. There is a pain points in getting the subsidies from the government. There's a pain points in getting the receivables on time. There are pain points wherein they don't get the talent at the cost at which they can afford it, because talent all of a sudden has become very expensive, very, very expensive. This is what we need to bring in, the skill sets which is required for small and medium enterprises. And unfortunately in India, for small and medium enterprises and the large enterprises pay lesser interest and small enterprises pay larger interest. The higher interest is always paid by the small units. That's something which government has to subsidize wherever it is possible.
Sure. Why hasn't technology perhaps solved this skilling challenge that small businesses are facing?
There is some studies done that, like India, about 75% of the graduates are not unemployable. They're unemployable.
In fact, has come up with that report.
Yeah, so the skilling gap has to start from NEP, the new educational policy should be able to solve all those things. And today the internship, what we are trying to get the interns on board are not that kind of interns when we used to do the internship. So a lot of changes have to happen. It will happen.
So the good thing is, when you talk about skilling, we have this initiative called Future Skilling. The opportunity is provided to pretty much everybody, right? There is no dearth of resources, right? There are people, intent has to be there. And also, I think just me bring a personal point of view, not a data-driven, that, everybody needs to have a strong schooling also. And to say that I do 2-year crash course and I become a greatest data scientist is not going to happen. So I think schooling needs to be strong, fundamentals have to be strong, and then you can do whatever course on top of it. But just to give a general statement, I think opportunity is immense. And it is going to continue to grow. There are a lot of initiatives that are available, both from the private and the government sector. And we just need to embrace the opportunity. All sectors will continue to embrace technology. That is a fact. The new things like Chat, GPT, AI, we hear, I think, while we may be using it more like a recreational thing right now, but it is going to be impacting pretty much every part of the businesses going forward.
It's time for a quick break here. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching IDFC First Bank presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 11, and today we are bringing you highlights from our Bengaluru Springboard. In this segment, the panelists address questions associated with mentorship and further decode the right methods to improve the success ratio for startups.
Any questions from the audience at this point? Yes. Can we have a mic first here, please? Could I ask that you please introduce yourself, what work you do, and whom your question is for? And can I request for you to stand so our cameras can capture you? Yeah.
Hi. Thanks for the opportunity. I'm Keshamurthy BG from DRDO. I'm a defense scientist. I'm also a mentor for startups. That's why I'm here. I see that you're discussing 3 different issues: MSMEs, the growth, the startups, the availability of skills. Third, the venture capitalists. There's no dearth of funds. Plenty of funds are available. VCs are there pouring money. Startups are available. But how to integrate startups with these venture capitalists, getting the profiles of the startups, and then the MSMEs requirement. MSMEs require skills. Now they have to be developed through startups. And the funds are available. Now somebody should integrate all these three.
What you said is absolutely right. We have to connect the dots between all of these. Just to give you another perspective, we recently ran a survey at TiE Bangalore on what do entrepreneurs really want. And these was largely at startups. And we had, of course, some of the MSMEs as well. We automatically assumed that funding is going to be the number one, which interestingly did not come up as the number one. Three things came up, and the fourth, of course, was funding. Entrepreneurs said, we need to network. We need to meet people. We need to understand how do I, not just customers, but partners and co-founders and investors. So how do I network well? Right? Second came out was the need to learn faster. Right? World is changing fast. I'm building a product. I need to know what's happening in the world around me. What is the structured learning process that I can get? Not just general gyan, but structured learning. And therefore, the third one became mentoring. To say, who do I go to ask specific questions so that I don't waste cycles trying to solve something that somebody's already solved. And the natural progression that came out was, if I network well, if I learn well, and I have the right mentors, funding is a given. I'll get it, right?
Yeah, we are the end product.
Yeah, that's the end product. Unfortunately, a lot of it is, funding is seen as an input process rather than an output or an outcome of a process, right? So one of the things that all of us are attempting to do, and Bangalore is a great example of, how do you bring mentors, learning opportunities, networks together? And this forum is one such example of how these things can come together.
One has to be very clear between lending and investment in the startup. When you are going for a lending to a bank, they'll see your assets, liabilities, your DSCR 1.65 times, and some business plan, and based on the collateral, you will always get the loan. And don't get mixed up with that kind of a process for a startup investment. But my request to all of you is that do not think that the money is available for every startup. No. It is available only when you are disrupting existing businesses, wherein you can scale up by using the technology, and that should be something different. It should be cheaper. It should be faster. It should appeal to the world, not just Bangalore. It should appeal to the world. If you can solve a problem of Bangalore traffic, then you can solve the problem of entire world. Then they invest the money. That is something which you need to be very aware of. Lastly, about the mentors. So mentors of yesterday, today, and tomorrow, they're different. Definitely the youth of today may not have that much patience to sit with a mentor of 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. They just want a solution. They don't want jnana. They just want solution. And they are in a fast pace. So to that extent, availability of mentors itself is very scarce. So we have academicians, but we may not have practitioners. Practitioners are who are lost some money in the past, who have started something in the past, and they know what not to do. That's the biggest mentorship, what not to do rather than what to do. Yeah. Because if they knew how to do it, they'll have started long time back.
In the interest of time, we'll have to take questions, but please feel free to take it up offline. Go ahead, sir.
Hi, my name is Sudhir. I work in the field of cyber vigilance. It's a new upcoming area. My question is very fundamental now that you mentioned that organization like yours can go through 7,000 different applications in a year and select 10. Now, those 10 are wonderful organizations who get funded. Now, I'm sure there are many more organizations, many more tens that get funded by many, many, many different venture capitalists. And there are a lot of funded startups which are working. My question is, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, the number of startups that were getting funded has definitely improved today. But has the success rate of the startups improved? Because as industry people, we have also seen that, and this may be wrong, please correct me if I'm wrong, that for every one success, maybe 9 have not worked out, where the investors don't make money. And while the numbers, the ratio may be wrong, but in principles, the number of people who fail is higher. So my question is not why they fail. My question is fundamentally that we, as a nation, maybe as a world, we have data on trying to figure out what are the success patterns that we should look for, which would increase our success efficiency. So that is really my fundamental question.
Sanjeev, you want
Thank
to
you.
take it? Yeah.
Yeah, so you're right. I think just going by the rule of thumb, it is 10% of startups succeed world over. And I think we are no exception here. Obviously, we need to improve the success ratio. That is an interest of everyone, be it investors, be it startup, or be it as a country, right? And that's what the ecosystems we just talked about do. I mean, we try to see these people who are coming up with newer products, what he says, innovators, you know. Of course, we need to have a good product in hand to make a success out of it. And once we have that, if that doesn't become a success, that's a national wastage, I would say, right? I mean, a good product doesn't become a success when there's an opportunity and there were no means for him to ride that wave of, you know, getting to the market. And that's what these ecosystems need to do, help them with whatever mentoring is needed. Mentoring is, again, there's not going to be one mentor who will solve all the problems. Maybe you need different mentors for different situations. For finance, you need somebody else. For marketing, you need somebody else. Technology, you need somebody else, and so on. And that's what organizations like ours do. So definitely we agree that, you know, the success ratio ecosystems will have to be improved, and they are improving. I mean, it's not that because it's in interest of investors also to have them succeed.
Yeah. If I may just bring a slightly different view here, I would really, as a society, let us reflect on what does success really mean, right? Because I think today, genuinely, to build on Ullas's point, we need more enterprises rather than startups. All startups are enterprises, but all enterprises need not be startups, right? So if you were to say, listen, we need to create 10 million entrepreneurs who can go on to create 10 jobs each, to me, that enterprise is successful because we have to solve for job creation, right? It's not that we do not need maybe another 100 or 200 unicorns, but just having unicorns and measuring success by valuation of startups alone does not solve the challenges that the country faces. So I think it's important to segregate the startups and the enterprises or the MSMEs. And I think we need to start focusing a lot more on how do you make entrepreneurs and enterprises more successful. Can they grow beyond the sub-dwarf stage that we have of less than 2-3 people to 10, 15, 20 people? And what do we need to do to enable that growth to happen is definitely a conversation that we must get deep into.
But we've run out of time on today's panel, talking about Bengaluru as the gateway for galvanizing the decade. Thank you so much to our panelists. Such a pleasure having you here with us and for your comments and your expertise. Thank you so much. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
And that's a wrap on this episode of IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 11. We hope you enjoyed the episode. Thank you and goodbye.